Okay, it's Monday. This is Think Tech Talks in the 4 to 5 block. And we're finding a future today with Yue Shuge, who joins us by Skype from Beijing. She is the founder of Ivy Gallery, and we're calling this show the Emerging Digital Social Photo Wars. Yue, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's great to be able to talk to you. But I know you rotate between Beijing and San Francisco.
The San Francisco Bay Area, yes.
You're part of the San Francisco tech crowd. I know you are.
Yes, I lived in both places for quite some time.
Well, tell us about your background. We're going to get into some discussion about your product, Ivy Gallery, but tell us about your life in Stanford, Microsoft, and Yahoo.
Yeah, I graduated from Stanford many years ago. I got my PhD from computer science department, and then I worked in the Bay Area for a few years. I worked for two startups, a little bit on research, and then I worked for Yahoo in the Bay Area. So about 8 years ago, I came back to work in Beijing, 2006. And I worked for Microsoft and again Yahoo here in the Beijing R&D center. And now I'm doing my own little startup, doing mobile photo, as we will talk more. And I go both places because the R&D is in Beijing and the marketing and the product will be in the Bay Area.
Interesting model. So Beijing has the programmers to put it together for you, or are you doing it yourself? Who's coding this thing?
I'm not coding myself for now. I have a small team of very good programmers, because in the last couple of years when I was working for Microsoft and Yahoo, I got to know a lot of good programmers here. You know, some of them my alumni from Tsinghua University, who I attended some years ago. So excellent programmers I can hire here in Beijing, and I'm mostly playing a product role in the last couple of years when I was in Yahoo, and I'm now the CEO, not only product, also business operations, marketing, whatever, HR, anyone.
You're still with Yahoo then?
I'm not. I left a year and a half ago to do this.
Well, I want to drill down on two things you mentioned. One is Stanford PhD in computer science. What's that like? Do you how do you get through that without having your brain swell?
I think it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of great people. You always feel everyone's better than you. Definitely, you have to work hard, but. It was a great time when the internet started to take up, and when I was in this database group, and information science started to pick up. So I had always been working on this data area starting from my PhD time. I worked on data warehouses, data mining for my PhD thesis, and with a lot of great people, great advisor, friends, colleagues, and they all doing really well. So it is hard, but it's fun.
What was your PhD about?
It's about integrating data from multiple heterogeneous sources into one place. For example, it's a distributed data system. You put data in many different places, and in one place you want to see them all. And then you have to make them consistent because they could all be changing. So all the little pieces could be changing. How can you update the masterpiece so you always have a consistent view? So that's like the gist of the thesis. And we have to, obviously, there's theory, there's systems you have to build to prove your method is pretty good. It was very interesting because it was pretty early in the information science. So my thesis was reasonably recognized as a good one. Many people still refer to it today because everybody has been moving data since then.
Sure. What year was it actually, Yue?
Yes?
What year was it that you took the PhD?
I finished in 1999.
That was
That's
early.
a
I mean,
long
to put
time
it in
ago.
perspective, that's only a few years after the internet was born. So
Yes, yes. So when I was at Stanford, that's how I got to know, Mosaic, Netscape, Internet, Yahoo, all these. Yeah, that was when the internet was born.
Yeah.
When the consumer internet, at least.
Now, in the papers I've seen on you, there's a reference to big data, and I wonder if you learned big data, whether that term even existed when you were at Stanford working on your PhD. But in any event, what is big data for the purposes of our conversation today? What is it?
It's in general a lot of data. So, that's what the title says. The one I worked with when I worked at Stanford, yes, I think that the problem was big data, what we call the data warehouse, because database is not enough. Database is like the one bank use where you handle all the transaction. But when you have too many data, when the data is not very well organized, we need these data warehouses to put them in. So we can say we started to work on big data problem at that time. And then after that, when I joined these Bay Area startups and Yahoo and Microsoft, I had always been working on the data area, either in data directly, like the BI stuff, business intelligence stuff, or later I was working on online advertising, which is also a big data topic, because you want to send the right ads to the right people. So you have to target them right, you have to understand them, and to understand online users, that's another big data problem. Coming back to the context we're talking about today, photos, right? It's definitely a big data problem. In fact, photos is the largest content in the internet today. Not video, not text. If you just talk about the volume, so we have all these cloud services, right? The Google Drives, the SkyDrives from Microsoft, called OneDrive, and Dropbox. The largest, if you just talk about volume, the largest content stored in these clouds are photos. If you think about all the websites, obviously you have a lot of text, but text are reasonably small. You need to understand them. And you have videos, but you don't have that many videos. Photos or image data are the biggest data in the internet today.
Now, when you talk about photos, just to sort of refine that point, you talk about photos as the biggest, element of data on the internet. You're talking about the whole photo. You're talking about every byte and bit in the JPEG or the PNG or the GIF. It's the whole photo, every bit of information in that photo which you're talking about. And therefore, what I think I hear you saying is that your program, your analysis, your use of big data techniques applies not just to the name of the photo or the dimensions of the photo or anything, superficial like that, but it's every piece of data in the photo. Am I right?
Absolutely. That's a very good insight into this, because photos, it used to be just some bits, right? You can see it. It used to be just visual. But now with the big data and understanding, the photo now has a lot more meanings. You can have the metadata as you've described. There's a timestamp, there's a location, and the size of the photo related. There's also a lot of meaning inside the photo. Let's say there's people in it. We can recognize who's in it. And let's say sometimes you take photos you take screenshots, and then there's text in the screenshots. It's an address of a restaurant. Maybe you can recognize that. So photos is a whole photo. It has a visual thingy, all the pixels. It has all the metadata, and then it has all the inferred meaning.
Well, what I hear you saying is that if I have a photo of an object or a face, then that's data. And if I'm really smart and I can use advanced algorithms, another one of the terms that is associated with you, then I can use those algorithms to look at the face, to analyze the face, look at the object, identify the object. So everything in the photo is something that I can analyze, and with that analysis, I can describe and I can actually create, text kind of data in a database out of what my analysis from the photo shows me is in the photo. Are we dealing with that? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So photos, there is definitely an issue with too many photos as well. There are so many photos in the world representing many informations. They record your life, and you use them somehow. And in order to use them effectively, you need to understand them better. Just like what we do, we do this simple photo gallery, right? If you only have 100 photos, you can just look at them. You just open the default gallery and look at them from number 1 to number 100. But what if you have 10,000 photos? What if you have another 10,000 storing in the cloud and another 5,000 stored in another phone? So if you put all these together, in order to efficiently manage them, just to find them, to line them up, and maybe you want to write something about the photo, maybe you can extract something out of the photo. All these tasks become kind of a big data problem. You need algorithms. Let me give you an example. Mm-hmm. In the next version of our product, we're going to separate screenshots from normal photos. There's some study showing over half of the people have at least some screenshots in their phone. So people don't just take photos of scenic view anymore. They take screenshots and then send it to friends. Mm-hmm. But some people like me, we use screenshot a lot at work. We have a lot of those mixed up with my regular daily birthday party photos. Mm-hmm. And if I can if the tool can help you automatically separate them, then it will be very useful for some people at least. You don't have to look at them. You can treat them differently. You can say, maybe I should delete those screenshots. I don't need to keep them.
Yeah, they get in the way if you're looking for photos that are not screenshots. Well, yeah. I'd like to examine with you the landscape. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'd like to examine with you the landscape of what is out there, of all the possible ways that people can store photos. Lord knows, with the advent of these cell phones with cameras in them, especially, I suppose, the iPhone, but many others, people are taking photos at a more rapid rate than they ever did before. The photos are pretty good. They're at high resolution, a lot of them now, and higher all the time. And they got to put them somewhere, and they do put them somewhere. And this has got to be a phenomenon that's very fertile ground for your Ivy Gallery. And I'd like to talk about all the places that they are stored and all the places that Ivy Gallery would go and get them from. Okay, but right now we'll take a short break, Yue. That's Yue Shuge. She's joining us from Beijing by Skype. She's the founder of Ivy Gallery. This is Think Tech Talks. I'm Jay Fidell, and I'm trying to find our future here with the emerging digital social photograph wars. We'll get to that part too. We'll be right back. What fun we're having.
Yeah.
Castle and Cook, Hawaii. Investing in Hawaii, creating communities, and providing for the needs of our state. Collateral Analytics, empowering the real estate industry to make better informed property investment decisions. The Foreign Trade Zone, bringing the benefits of the Foreign Trade Zone programs to Hawaii businesses and entrepreneurs. Galen Ho, a senior executive of BAE Systems, a global defense, security, and aerospace company. Hawaiian Electric Company and its affiliates Maui Electric and Hawaii Electric Light Company on Hawaii Island. The Hawaii Energy Policy Forum, incorporating diverse perspectives to design a flexible and forward-looking energy strategy. Hawaii Energy, the state's energy and efficiency program created to help Hawaii's residents and businesses adopt a clean energy lifestyle. Hawaii Gas, helping Hawaii achieve its transition to clean energy and a better energy future. Hawaii Pacific Health, bringing technology and teamwork together to transform healthcare in Hawaii. The High Tech Development Corporation, attached to DBED, is the state's leading technology agency. The Scheidler Family Foundation, supporting educational, cultural, and charitable organizations, including Think Tech. Okay, we're back with Yue Shuge. She joins us from Beijing. She is the founder of Ivy Gallery, which sounds like a very sophisticated program, a disruptive program here on Think Tech Talks. We're talking about the emerging digital social photograph wars, and this is part of it. And this is disruptive technology about online photos and storage. And I wanted to ask you, I mentioned before the break that we need to understand the landscape of all the photo storage systems that are out there. And you talked earlier about, disparate data sources, and this has got to be the ultimate because they're all different, so many of them, and they come and go. They don't last forever. New ones are always coming on the scene. So what are you dealing with?
So yes, I think that landscape will be there, and it will be there for quite some time. I don't think one person will take them all and all the photos will go to one of them. But that's what all these photo storage is trying to do. They all say, come to me, I gave you all the free storage. Still, everybody provides different services and in good for different people. So, and it's such a huge area. So there will be many players in the next many years. And that's how Ivy Gallery comes to play. It is a consumer product, so it is for regular guys, girls, moms, and just anybody. And it is supposed to be very easy to use, just like the default gallery on your phone. You can just open it and things will be there. It should be even easier to use than that. And so the landscape, the very, you can call it complex landscape.
Why don't you list for us some of the ones you're dealing with, some of the photo storage websites and programs that you're dealing with that are out there that exist now that you have to scrape the photos from?
Yes. So photos can be obviously on your phone or on your pad or on your other different type of phones, iPhone or Android phone. It can also be on We've connected to 7 different cloud services at this moment, and we're going to connect more. Now we have Dropbox, Google Drive, Box.com, Flickr, Instagram, and one more. Who else?
Tumblr?
I'm missing. No, not Tumblr. I'm missing one. So let me come back to that. So
Okay.
we're connected to 7 of the services, and also we intend to connect to more. So whatever is popular, Ivy is very open. So we want to be the hub into all of these services. So we don't force anybody to store their data or photo in some storage like everybody comes to. Oh, another one is Flickr. Now I got it. It's Flickr.
Good,
How can
yeah.
I forget that from coming from Yahoo and having worked on the Flickr project?
Well, tomorrow there'll be another one. Who knows?
So the good thing is because Ivy has a sharing function. Ivy has some mostly is organization function. We organize everything by timeline. Wherever the photo comes from, we will group them into events. So you went to Hawaii, and then you went to different cities in Hawaii. They will all be organized automatically. The photos by their time, by their location, and then you can name them. You can move photos around, but then. You can also share an event, the whole event. Say you take 200 photos with a friend. Let's say you went to Hawaii together with another 10 people. You can do this virtual sharing. The good thing is all these people, your friend, they don't have to use the same cloud storage. Unlike the conventional one, you have to sign up to Dropbox. Everybody has to sign up to that in order to view and update the photos. Put the photos together, or you all have to be on Facebook. For this one, you can use your favorite storage, and that's what we talked about earlier. I believe this landscape where lots of good storage solutions will survive. It will be quite some time. So you don't want to force your mom or your brother all use the same service. At the same time, use Ivy, you can do this virtual sharing. You have your 100 photo, your mom has her 50 photo. You can all put them together virtually.
Okay. So suppose I have, say, 3 or 4 of these social photo sites working for me, and I'm saving on all of them somehow, and I have a ton of photos on my hard drive, and I'm it's a mess. It's a mess because I don't know where what is. Okay, and I think I speak for millions of people now. Now you're going to solve my problem for me. So let me imagine how this would work. I'm imagining, you have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I go on the web, and
Yes.
your program, Ivy Gallery, works it's like a software as a service.
It's a mobile app. Yeah.
So it's a mobile app as
It's a
well.
mobile
Is it
app.
both places, both on the
Both
on the desktop?
web and
Yeah.
desktop and on your mobile phone. We're mostly mobile apps. So if you have an iPhone or Android phone, any smartphone, you can just install it as a mobile app. And your photos obviously are in the storage, but you can play with your cloud photos on the mobile app. You can also do it in our website, but these days most people just take their phones with them.
Okay, so now I'm looking at my mobile phone, and you want me to set up an account where I look at Picasa, I look at Google Drive, I look at Instagram and so forth, and now it's looking. The Ivy is looking at all these accounts. I've given you my username and password, what have you, right? And now you have access to all of that. And I say, give me all the photos that include a bread box. I want all the photos that include a bread box. And now you will recognize these photos. Without more than that, you will identify the bread box, and you will come back with a list of photos on my phone that have a bread box, and however many there are. And that will live on my phone. You're not going to save those anywhere, are you? Or are you making another database of photos somewhere else based on my query?
If you're not sharing with other people, all the photos on your phone will stay on your phone. We're not loading it anywhere or putting in another storage. We're not a storage provider ourselves. If you are sharing your photos, the photos on your phone with, say, your friend, we do have to upload your thumbnail to our own server so they can see the photos, and then they can download the original. If they download the original, they will actually get it. But yes, where it's only for the photo that you share. When you try to share, say 10 photos, we will remind you these 10 photos will be uploaded somewhere so your friend can see them.
Okay, so the result of a given query is not held anywhere. If I want to do the query again, it's a fresh a fresh look at all the databases. So I guess in that way it's local, yeah. And in that way, it's dynamic because you're always checking for the latest. If I added another photo with a bread box, then you would pick up yet one more the next time I did a query on bread boxes. Yeah.
Yeah. So search functionality is also a new one coming up. So today, when you connect to all these cloud services and your phone, all your photos will be put together and well organized by what we call events. So that's how one thing we do the heavy lifting for you, so you don't have to go and sort them out. And in the version coming out, we will have a search box over there. You can search by date and time and some of the metadata you have on your photos. So yes, so search function is not there yet at this moment.
Okay. So now,
but it will.
Now, if I want an event, this is kind of interesting.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you first to define what you mean by advanced algorithm. What is an advanced algorithm? What language is it written in? What is its power and capability?
Advanced, there's many algorithms, and when you call it advanced algorithms, many of these image algorithms can be called advanced if you want to. I think as long as it's a large amount of data, and also it's done by usually not just program but also training. then usually we call it advanced. People call it advanced algorithm. Let me give you an example. Recognizing screenshots. So you can just write a program to say if something happened, it's a screenshot. But it's very difficult because you have all these different type of phones, and the people take different screenshot, and they look sometimes screenshot look the same as a regular photo. So what need to happen is we do this kind of training. You have a training set. You have 10,000 photos, 5,000 of them are screenshot, 5,000 of them are not, and you keep telling the program to say this is a screenshot, this is not, this is another one, this yes, and after the training the program learns, and when you give it a new photo it will likely do the right judgment. So that's called kind of a machine learning algorithm, and usually people refer it as an advanced algorithm. You can do the same thing with face recognition, because sometimes things look like a face. They may or may not be a face. They may be a cat. It may be a cat or a dog. So these kind of a little bit uncertain, but it works on most of the data. That's called advanced algorithm, if you think so. And Ivy, we do want to take advantage of some of these algorithms. Obviously, we need to do things people really need. So recognizing bad photos for them, duplicates photo with a bad quality, and also recognizing people, like whether there is people in a photo, or maybe there's only scenic views. So these things we will do.
So when you have this event thing, right? So I went to a party. My party was on, say, I don't know, say last weekend. That would have been the
15th of February.
Say the 15th, okay? So I went to a party on the 15th. Now, you're going to look at the metadata. You're going to see what time it was taken. And you're going to say, well, it looks like Jay Fidell had a whole conglomeration of photos at that time, so that must be the event. And so anything within the reasonable boundary of that time has to be from the party. And therefore, you can identify all the party photos without me telling you any more than that. Am I right?
Yes, you're very good. You can come and develop the event detection algorithm for us. That's exactly what we do. Based on the location, obviously it is a strong indicator, because you go to a party, it's different from where your workplace or your home. And then the time first. If you have 20, 50 photos in an hour that's close to each other, that's another indicator this could belong to one event. And we group them together, and we call this, we show this as an event. Obviously we want to ask you for a name of it. If you don't give it, it's okay. It's just an event on the February 15th, 5 o'clock. But if you name it as Annie's birthday party, that's better. Yes, no more information needed from the user.
But you said that location was part of this. Embedded in these photos, I guess it depends on your phone and your settings, there can be, location information, GPS information. Do you need that absolutely, or is that just an optional thing, which your algorithm would have a benefit of that, but it isn't essential? How does the location information? Okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely optional, because some people turn the geotag on, some people don't. If there's no location, we'll do our best guess based on the time and the groupings, the closeness of the time of all the photos.
So here I have, I'm focusing on what you said about having it on my smartphone. So I download the app. The app would be Ivy Gallery, I guess.
Yeah, you can just go to the App Store and search for Ivy Gallery.
And this is
or
on
go to the Google Play. It's on the Apple App
both
Store
Apple
or
and Google
Play.
And it's free right now?
And search for Ivy Gallery. It's free, yeah.
Okay, so now when I download it, That's only the front end, right? Because somewhere on some server somewhere,
Yes.
you're doing all this number crunching and the big
Yes.
data crunching, and all I'm getting is really the photos that result from the query, right?
Yes and no, because if you only do your look at your photos locally, say the photos on your phone, in fact, the computation actually happen on your phone. So that's another thing which is high tech, because many of these image algorithms are not. We didn't invent it, like sorting out photos, but it is hard to do it on a mobile phone. If you do like again the screenshot recognition, if you have a huge server, large computer, it is reasonably easy to do. But if you want to do it just on your phone, becomes much harder. That's why you have to have good engineers to implement good algorithms so you can do it fast. But the overall idea, yes, is you can use it very easily without, even if you don't connect to any cloud or anybody, just download the app. It works just like your default gallery. You can just use it to browse your photos and look at the photos, because it has this event index. It's easier to go back to last year's February party, and only if you want to do more, you can connect to the cloud and manage a lot more photos, and then you can share with friends, like this virtual sharing we're doing. You can share with different people different times. So this is also we mimic the real life event. Let's say you went to a party last night, and today you come to work, you take some photos with your colleagues. Every time you can share photos with the different people, because that's what happened in the real life.
Sure.
You don't have to pre-create a group called, my family members, and then share the photo with them. Just share it with photo with whoever you want.
Well, it's got a real-time quality about it. I mean, if I take 20 photos at the party,
Yes.
and they're all sequenced a minute or two apart, and then I share it. It's essentially a slideshow of the whole party. It shows you what I was doing, what my camera was seeing for each one of those photos. So I'm giving it almost a blow-by-blow description of what happened at the party. This could be very valuable in terms of sharing. But I wanted to ask you this. Go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, I said your friends can put the photos together in the same event in real time as well, because every event we have an event code. So if you give your friend this code, let's say it's a big event, it's a wedding, you have 200 people. So everybody can take this code and put the photos together, instead of you don't have to invite the 200 people one by one. So yeah, it is a real-time recording of your life. That's what happened. That's what happened these days anyway, right? Everybody is holding a smartphone. On these kids' birthday parties, there are like 10 parents holding the phone, shooting the birthday cakes. And how nice it will be if you can just immediately put all the photos together, and then you can download the ones you really like, the good ones.
Well, I had one more question for you, and then I need to take a break. And the question is, suppose I'm a real nut, and I take not 20 photos, but 2,000 photos, okay, at this party. And now I query for that event. And the answer to my query is 2,000 photos. What is this going to collapse the system? What am I going to do with 2,000 photos coming back to my cell phone? What am I going to do with that?
Well, these days there are people who has more than 10,000 photos just on their phone. I think going beyond 10,000 is a little more. I think the 64G phone can hold up to 10,000, a little more. And you can. So that's where the cloud services does come to play. You should put all the photos in the cloud, and we do all the computing and generating thumbnails in our server. So if it's only 2,000 small thumbnails coming back to your phone, that's very few. You can just browse through them. They're very small, and you can look at them very quickly.
So there's really no limit then.
there's at this moment there's no limit. Some people have a huge amount of photos in multiple clouds, and they use our services because all the heavy crunching are done in the backend in the server, not on your phone. So you only look at the small thumbnail in your phone.
Well, that's Yue Shuge. She's in Beijing, joins us by Skype. We're in Honolulu in the Pioneer Plaza. We love shows like this because we have a big map on the wall and we put red dots for all our Skype connections. And Yue, we're going to put a red dot for you in Beijing, I tell you now.
Right.
She's the founder of Ivy Gallery. It's a new software program. You can download it on your phone. And we're talking about the emerging digital social photo wars. We'll get to that part right after this break.
I'm Hong Jiang, host for Asia in Review on Tuesdays.
And I'm David Day, host for Asian Review on Thursdays. Both of us broadcast our respective shows at 4 p.m.
And my topics tend to deal with questions related to environment, culture, history, and sometimes human rights.
And my shows tend to be on international business, foreign policy, geopolitics, and national security. And you can watch our shows live on the ThinkTech website at thinktechhawaii.com.
And you can also watch us on YouTube or Olalo.
So come join us on Thursdays at 4 p.m. I'm David Day.
And on Tuesdays at 4 p.m., I'm Hong Jiang.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Okay, we're back. We're with Yue Shuge. She joins us by Skype from Beijing. We're here in Honolulu. This is Think Tech Talks, Finding Our Future, about Ivy Gallery, a new program that sort of automatically organizes all your photos from all sources that you identify. All those photo programs coming together. So I wanted to ask you, Yue, what problems have you had in putting this together? What problems and boundaries have you found? And I suppose one other issue is how you're funding it when you're giving it away free. It sounds like a pretty sophisticated program. What's the economics on that?
The funding story, like all good internet mobile startups, we're funded by venture capital. We have not announced yet because we're in the final stage of closing, but we are a venture funded startup.
Okay.
So that's number one. So we're giving it out for free, and we're trying to test the market and see how people will adopt to it. We're trying to improve the product every day. So that's where we are. On the other side, the other question is, what kind of issues is it hard to do? I think so. First of all, this problem is real, and it is. You asked about why it is a war. It is true. Everybody knows about this explosion of photos or image data and explosion of personal information. As we can see, like 10 or 15 years ago when I was at Stanford, that's when the explosion of the whole internet data happened, right? That's why the search engine come to play. That's why the directory service like Yahoo come to play. But nowadays, personal information has become so big, we cannot really handle it without the help of advanced technology. You don't just have your 100 photo anymore. Everything is so much. You need a smart assistant to help you. And that's what Ivy is trying to be. But as you said, it's not easy. If it's easy, it would have been done. So we have to keep balancing two things. One is it has to be really simple. The consumers have to like it. It has to be really easy to use. Just like any good apps, you open up, you don't have to do much, and you get all the benefits. On the other hand, in order to handle so much data and a large amount of data, you have to do all this heavy lifting in very quickly. Let's say you scan through all the photos, generate all the small images, and you sort them out, and you may be doing there's lots of duplicates these days. Many programs automatically upload your photo to the cloud if you give them permission, and then you have 2 copies of each. Then we have to find the duplicate and let you know. They're the same photo. We don't want to show you twice. So all of these heavy lifting have to be done in a good performance, in a time where people can accept. So I think developing a product that feels so easy, while handling a lot of data is a challenge. And this is where the fun comes to, right?
What language are you using?
We're using different type of languages, Python mostly, and MySQL, all the open source infrastructure down there.
That's great. Well, I also wanted to get into the question of how long have you been out in the market? What kind of acceptance have you had from people? Have you had any problems in rolling it out where people said, "Oh, it's not working," that kind of thing? Where are you in terms of the acceptance of the product as it now exists?
We released both Android and iOS last November. Before that, we had a beta version of the Android trying to test a little bit. So our formal release, the Ivy, the first version of Ivy was in November of 2013. So that's November, December, about 3 to 4 months for now. We have over 10,000 users. Not a lot, but good enough for us to see some data, and it is growing. So you can, we have good ratings. If you go to, I think the App Store, you don't see it yet, but in Google Play, you can go there and see we have pretty good ratings, 4.3 something, and a lot of good reviews from people. But it is true. We will face the adoption. We need to let people know about this, right? It comes from nowhere, and people don't know about there is such a tool to organize their data. So that's why we want to generate more buzz around. If you have a lot of photos, if you have clouds, can you try this out? Is it better than your default gallery, for example? So growing the users will be my main goal for this year, obviously.
Okay. Well, we're helping you
keep
now
improving
with
the product. Keep improving the product, obviously.
So let me go to the last part of what I'd like to talk to you. We have 6 minutes left. And that, is a comment I made to you before we started the show, namely that, as you said, photos are the new language. It's funny because I've said recently, it came to me that video is the new literature. And video tells stories that people listen to more than they read books. And photos are really right in there. I mean, if you can organize a photo, a bunch of photos, a photo shot, what do you call it? A photo shoot, a photo show. Then you're effectively showing a video, and so you have the power to do that, and so you could take the product of a given query about our hypothetical party, and you could make a movie out of that in no time at all, and do voice overlay on it, and presto, you have an accurate sequential movie of what you saw at the party. And it is video in a sense, because there's so many ways to fill the gaps between the photos. A slideshow is what I was looking for. So you can slide it this way and slide it that way, like Rick Burns does when he has old photos of the Civil War. And so you can do that too, and you can effectively make a movie. And when you put all that together, your ability to auto-organize all these photos, in my view, is capable of changing things. And I suspect that's one of the reasons you call it disruptive. But let me ask you, though, why is it disruptive? And what do you think, Ivy Gallery is going to do for the use of our phones, the use of our photos, the use of our, personal data, sharing our lives? What do you think is going to happen, say, in the next 5-10 years with this product and products like it?
I absolutely agree with you. One photo is like 1,000 words, and usually 10 to 20 photos can tell a very good story. So you may have seen there's new media sites coming out these days, and they do news, but they're not the traditional New York Times news story that's very in-depth and a good read. They have 10 or 20 photos, and they don't have a lot of text. That's pretty much their news. Ivy wants to play a role in this new phenomena where people people will maybe slowly doing less and less writing, and they will express themselves more and more in photos or images. So everybody has a mobile phone with them. They take photos all the time. How can we use all these photos in the normal people's hand and make stories of the world? So that's kind of why we want to be a role. It's a very interesting problem to solve, and if we solve it, as you pointed out, it should be disruptive. So everybody will be writing stories as they walk around with their phones, and everybody will be writing stories with the phone, with the photos in the phone. So that's where we want to get to. Some stories are written by for yourself, like a diary, and maybe like recording your kids' daily life. And some stories can be written for the world, like if you happen to see a good event, if you see an interesting animal, you can take the photo and send it out. Everybody will appreciate that. So we want to play a role in that.
Yeah, and I make the assumption that if you can share, you can also go out with a tweet to the world, to everyone who's on your list, and you can send your movie of photos out to the whole world. So if I'm in Syria, for example, and I happen to see something, or my phone happens to see something, and I take 20 shots of this, you're right. I mean, I agree with you that a photo has a certain credibility. And if you have 20 or 40 or 50 or 100 photos, it's not likely they're all doctored, There's a certain credibility in multiple photos, maybe more than even one photo.
Yes.
So if I can send out my story, even without a word being uttered, from something that has happened in Syria, for example, to the world, I become a citizen journalist of sorts. And this program will enable me to do that. I take a lot of photos, and then I can organize them automatically, and then I can send them out. So I think that's one thing that might happen as a result of what you're doing.
That's a great word, actually, citizen journalist, because there are many photo sharing sites, but then you have to take the photo and organize them and put them together somehow before you can just share, right? You have to pick those 10 photos in order to share.
Yeah.
So that's why we focus a lot more on the organization and the meanings of the photos, and hopefully sharing will be easy, either within Ivy or in another SNS. But yeah, that's a good way to look at it. People walking around and writing stories with Ivy.
Well, maybe when you go to your next iteration, or maybe some iterations down the road, you could add something to allow the person to do voiceover at the time he creates the program, the slideshow. That would really be something. I just although the voice, as you said, a voiceover isn't essential, an interpretation would be helpful. Okay, well, that was Yue. Okay, wait.
Okay.
There you are.
Back.
So what I was saying while we were disconnected was that although a voiceover isn't essential, sometimes an interpretation of what we're seeing, or a first-party statement about what's in front of the camera, would be useful to the people who want to know what happened there. And so if you had voiceover, you would at least allow the option to add that enhancement to what you were doing.
Yes, that's a useful feature.
Well, I think this is really an interesting product, and I tell you now that I'm going to download it. I want to take a look at it.
Yeah, take a look and give us feedbacks.
Okay. Well, I wish you well, Yue. I think this is a great project, and I think it is disruptive, and who knows where it'll go. I hope it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. When you talk about analyzing all those photos and looking for objects and people, I mean, it sounds like if the NSA had it, the NSA may use it to find faces of people and then identify who's where. In other words, if I had access to all of these sources and I'm looking for a person I suspect of bad, of wrongdoing, I can find pictures of this person automatically, of this person at all the locations that he's taken, that he's been included in a photograph, and I can get a pretty good track on it. It's the recognition part that's interesting, and the part of bringing them all together, the accumulation part. That's kind of sexy, and I wonder what the NSA would do.
They already have that image technology,
they
by
do?
the way.
Okay.
I'm sure they have face recognition and everything. We just use it for the benefit of the regular consumers. Everybody can use it now, not just
Yeah.
NSA.
Okay, well, I see. You're taking it not from them. You're taking an idea they're using it, and you're giving it to us, the
Yes.
public, and that's
Yes,
great.
everybody can use it now.
Okay, so let me get your website and the name of the product again, and then we'll close.
Yep. The website is www.ivy.ag. It's all in one gallery.ag. And usually you can just go to any app store, either iPhone App Store or Google Play, to search for Ivy Gallery and download the app.
Why do you call it Ivy, by the way?
We want a nice short name, but also we want to indicate a lifeline, because Ivy put your photos together as a group of events in a timeline. So it's kind of like the vine with all the leaves, your lifeline, and with the events.
A timeline, that's what it is.
A timeline, your lifeline, with all the good memories and events hanging off them.
Thank you, Yue Shuge, who joins us by Skype sound rather than video right now. She's the founder of Ivy Gallery in Beijing and in San Francisco. This is Think Tech Talks. I'm Jay Fidell. We're finding our future with her, talking about the emerging digital social photo wars and also some really great ideas. Thank you so much, Yue.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Aloha.